Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and today we're doing an unboxing of this Pioneer 5-channel amplifier. Today we're going to be taking a look at the GM-D9705. Again, it's a 5-channel Class D amplifier. In this video, we're going to show you everything that this box comes with, including taking a closer look at the amplifier itself, and we'll link everything that we take a look at in the description below. Let's get started. Okay, so first and foremost, it's a 5/3 channel amplifier, and what that means, because it is 5 channels, there is one channel that's dedicated just to the sub. Now the other 4 channels are dedicated to generally your interior 4-corner speakers, whether they be in the doors or in the dash or wherever they may be, based on the car you're installing this to. Those 4 channels can be bridged down to 2 channels for additional power. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this thing opened up. Okay, so inside the box it comes with the amplifier itself, which we'll take a look at here in a moment. But the accessories that are included, first and foremost, we have some cables, bass knob, and your manual. So starting with the manual, the cool thing is they actually provide a full-on manual and warranty card here. You don't have to go online to download anything, fortunately, with this model amplifier. Next to that, you have your Allen wrench key set. A smaller Allen wrench for your smaller 4 channels. We'll show you those terminals on the amplifier. It does take this really small one and this bigger one for the bigger sub-channel output, as well as your power and ground. You also have all your screws, the 4 screws to mount the amplifier, as well as the 2 screws to mount the bass knob itself. Now taking a look at the bass knob, let's get this pulled out. Now here's our bass knob that's included with the amplifier. It's nice that this does come included. Now this is the bass knob cable. One end obviously goes to the amplifier and the other end will go to your bass knob here. Now finally here, you may be wondering, well, what is this harness here? Now fortunately with this amplifier, if you did not have an aftermarket radio already installed in your vehicle and you're trying to adapt this to a factory system, what Pioneer is included is a high-level input speaker harness. Essentially here, this would plug into the amplifier itself, and then the other ends would go to whatever signal input, a high-level amplified signal input from your factory sound system. So here is the amplifier all pulled apart. Has a really nice shine to it, nice upgrade. I'm going to compare it to the previous generation here. So here's the previous gen. Previous generation kind of had like a carbon fiber look to it, where this new generation has this really nice shine. Has our terminals on one side, as well as our 3 30-amp fuses. And on the other side it has our RCA inputs and gain, crossovers, everything that we'll need to adjust the amplifier. Now the dimensions of the amplifier, so the length here is about 12 inches, the height 2 3/8 inch, and then the depth or the width is 7 7/8 inches. So what we're going to do now is look at the terminals on both sides. Alright, so looking at our terminals here, starting on the left hand side, we have 2 nickel plated 4-gauge terminals, and then there in the center is our remote turn on. Okay, so to the right of our terminals, we have our 3 30-amp fuses pre-installed from Pioneer. And then to the right of our fuses, we have our speaker terminal for our subwoofer. Now this speaker terminal can accommodate up to about 12 gauge wiring there for our sub-channel output. Now to the right of that, remember the Allen wrenches supplied by Pioneer in the box. Well, you see how small those Allen sockets are. It really requires that small key in order for us to tighten down those terminals. Now we have our 4 channels here. We have our B channels and our A channels. Generally you can use your A channels as your front channels and B channels as your rear channels. Again, you also have your bridgeable mode based on that, in case you want to run it in 3-channel instead of a 5-channel mode. So that's everything here on the terminal side of the amplifier. Let's flip it around and show you everything on the other side. On this side of the amplifier, what we see here, starting on the left hand side, we're going to have our A channels, as you saw on the terminal side, the A channel side configuration, and we'll also have our B channel side configuration. They're basically going to be the same, and again, A channels are generally used for your front stage and B is for your rear stage. So starting on the left hand side, we have our crossover adjustment here. Now this crossover adjustment can go between 40 Hertz and 500 Hertz. This is a low pass, off, or high pass filter, and your gain here as well. Now we're just going to go ahead and jump over to the B side. Same thing. B side has your gain level adjustment, your crossover adjustment, and your high pass, low pass, or full pass through there. Now here at our input select, this is for channels A and B. Essentially here what this means, 2 channels or 4 channels, depending on what signal you're providing the amplifier. Let's say you only have 2 channels of input available to provide your amplifier here, and you want those 2 channels of input to be spread over all the channels, or all 4 channels. You can tell the amplifier, we're only giving it 2 channels of input, so use those 2 channels to send that signal to all 4 for me. Or I have 4 dedicated channels itself. I don't need to bridge any channels. What we haven't talked about up here is our high-level speaker harness input. So again, if you're not using RCAs and instead you're hooking this up to a factory system, that you're sending a high-level already amplified signal into the amplifier, you can send it right into this socket here with the supplied harness. Now looking down here below, we have our subwoofer channel and all the settings associated with it. Starting on the left hand side, we have our remote cable input. Remember, through the supplied cable to the bass knob, this is where you control that line level setting. To the right of that, we have our low pass. Now this can't be a high pass, low pass, or off. Essentially, this is always going to be low pass, as this 5th channel is a dedicated subwoofer output. Now you can set that subwoofer output between 40 Hertz up to 500 Hertz. Now you have your dB slope. This is essentially here, you can set this for 24 decibels per octave or 12 decibels per octave. Now you have your RC inputs, you have your channel A inputs, channel B inputs, and your subwoofer input. And then over here you have also the gain level adjustment for the sub, your input select, and your power light indicator, whether it's going to be power or protect. Now let's talk about this input selection here for the sub. Now again, similar to this input selection we talked about, if you don't have a dedicated subwoofer signal that's coming to this amplifier, you can tell this amplifier to pull signal from A or B, whatever is seeing signal, instead of its dedicated sub signal. If you do have a dedicated sub, you'd switch this to subwoofer. That's essentially everything on the sides of the amplifier here. So lastly, just to cover the power output of this amplifier here, at 4 ohms, each of these individual 4 channels that we talked about, your channels A and channels B, the front and rear 4 channels, can run 75 watts. 2 ohms, it can put out 100 watts RMS to each channel. Now again, if you put this into 3 channel mode, meaning you're bridging channels A and B, 4 down to 2, 4 ohms bridged at 400 watts by 2. Now for our subwoofer channel, because obviously it's a 5-channel amp, has a separate channel specifically for a subwoofer. At 4 ohms, that sub channel can do 350 watts RMS output, or at 2 ohms it will do 600 watts output at that one channel. So that's about it for this video here. Now like I said before, if you want to see more details on this amplifier, we'll post those in the description below. If you want to pick one of these up yourself, we'll actually have one linked also in the description in case you want to purchase one for your vehicle. Also, if you want to see this installed and in action, we're going to be installing this in a 2016 Ford F150. So check that video on out. We'll have a link to the video in the description as well as a card up above. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. We post great content all the time on the channel. Again, we appreciate you watching and we will see you in the next video.